Hey, what's going on here, YouTube? This is Poji Force again, and this is yet another discussion video while I sort cards. In this video, I am organizing my three Rise, I think it's three Rise, yeah, Rise of the Duel Master set. And how I'm doing this is I'm organizing first by civilization, and then I take each individual civilization and I sort by set number. And my headset broke again. You may remember me mentioning that in the last video. My headset breaks a lot, so I'm trying to fix it here because it just fell off while I was wearing it. Um, so in the last video, I rambled on and on and on about why I don't do a lot of videos anymore, and video games and work, and just all kinds of things about why I don't do videos anymore. And I went off topic a lot, and I also talked about all the new players we got. And at this point, I'm just stalling because this video ended up being a lot longer than I thought it would be, and I didn't get nearly as much sorting done as I thought I would. You know, these half-hour long videos, I really thought I was going to make more progress sorting this time, but I guess I didn't. So I might have to cut some of the sorting out, because I was only anticipating doing 3 of these. And because I'm doing this all the day before 6DSI releases, so I need these have to be done today because otherwise they're not relevant again tomorrow, because tomorrow the new set comes out. And speaking of the new set, what I want to talk about in this video is the new set and what I plan to do with it. I think I did mention last video that I plan on getting as much of the new set as I possibly can when it drops. So tomorrow I'm hoping Steve will have the new set. If he does, I'm buying like at least a box, if not more. I've got $20 in store credit. I'm expecting to have a lot of money coming in tomorrow. I've got 40 bucks in my pocket, so Mana Storm. Some people are talking about using Mana Storm with Kurogar because, charge 2 mana, then reveal the next 2 cards, and if any of them are creatures, they come into play. In Bronze Arm Tribe, Venom Worm. I should Venom Worm because that power creep, man, Screeching Scare Adorable is so much better. Cheaper, stronger, better bait, better effect. Screeching is just completely better than Venom Worm. Though I guess Venom Worm supposedly is good in limited format, but in standard play, it's very bad. But yeah, new set. Wow, the new set. I haven't taken a full look at the spoiler list so far, but from what I've seen, like ever since I saw Herald and Lux, I've decided I'm gonna be doing fire, water, light control, which is kind of weird. I know because I'm not using darkness, so I'm not, or nature for that matter, so I don't have the big kill spells in the form of Terra Pit or Root Trap. But my idea was to use Lux to make Herald cheaper, then use Light Tap, especially since now that they got that new tap spell, use Light Tap to make an opening. Herald swings in, I drop, say, Orion or Infernus from my hand, and then I just control the board from there. Now, ever since Lux was revealed, and I decided I was going to do that, I'm like, I want to see what the Water Firebird and Water Dragon were. Everyone around here who knows me knows that I've been saying that. I've been saying that and saying that and saying that. And it's almost like Wizards knew and wanted to tease me because the Water Firebird and Super Rare Dragon were the last ones that they revealed. Um, and that was Nyx, and I think Issel is the name of the dragon. I'm not entirely sure. I don't have these cards in front of me right now to look at, but in particular, I'm really happy about Nyx because he's a level 3, and that's important because I'm not playing Dark, so Umbra doesn't mean anything to me. Um, and the Fire, Kanina, and the Nature one, I don't remember what it's called. They are 4 mana each, and I'm trying to drop Herald on turn 4. So Lux and Nyx at 3 mana, uh, double my odds of getting Herald out turn 4. I'm going to be running 3 Heralds because it's all about the Herald. Herald helps me ensure that my creatures come out a lot sooner. Um, and then Luck, and assuming if I'm correct in remembering this, but Herald is an armored dragon. So if I'm playing Lux, that prevents me from, that saves me from, say my opponent sees the Herald coming, they're like, oh, Herald, well, I need to get rid of that. So it's a level 5, so that's going to require Terra Pit or something like that. Or just some, Rusalk is going to be a problem. But Rusalk is always a problem. But if they somehow have some sort of kill spell to get rid of it, you know, Lux. Oh, you're killing my dragon. I'll kill Lux and dragon's safe. So yeah, um, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm gonna be running Issel because with Orion because I like the fact that he keeps things tapped down. I want to between Issel, Orion, and Infernus. I'm hoping to completely lock down the opponent's board and with 3 heralds increase my odds of dropping them out of my hand because Infernus is going to lock down the board, Issel locks down the board, and Orion helps Issel lock down the board. There's just all of them really good cards. Um, and then with Nyx, I noticed a really cool synergy between Nyx and Herald because you do turn 3 Nyx. He's 3 for 2, I think. Dragon Song, so all my dragons are cheaper. And then whenever you play a dragon, you draw a card. Well, Nyx just allowed you to turn 4 Herald. So turn 3 Nyx, turn 4 Herald, and you draw a card before. I mean, that's awesome right there because because playing Herald and then drawing a card increases your odds of having a dragon in hand when Herald kills something. So then you play a tap down spell or Blinder Beetle or something to make an opening, and then you swing in with Herald and you kill something and you drop that Infernus or you drop that Orion, and all of a sudden you got a really big guy on field. Turn 5, the only turn 5 spell I can think of that can kill anything is then you can, assuming that they still have a Chimera on board, they can Hydra Medusa, but the only spell I can think of that can deal with something as big as Orion is either a there's water bounce too, but very few people play that. Oh, mana bind, bad card. um, but the only spell that is permanent removal for that is at turn 5 is Death Smoke, unless they've been mana accelerating, so they got Root Trap or Terra Pit. Otherwise, it's Death Smoke, unless they've come out with other cheap removal that I'm not aware of. So at this point, I've got all my civs sorted out, and I'm going to start taking each individual civilization and sorting by set number. Starting with light, I go in color wheel order. Um, but yeah, Herald I think is the real monster of the deck there, and so I'm happy that I have Lux to protect him. Um, well, I'm going to have Lux to protect him. I currently don't have the card because naturally it's not out yet. It's out tomorrow. I really hope Steve has it. I want to be disappointed. I'm going to try to buy from Steve. I'm going to try to buy locally. I know ARG has much better prices, but I want to encourage Steve to get product because when you don't buy from locally doesn't see much reason to get product. So when you decide on the fly, you know what, I'm going to get a few packs of this. Oh, it turns out they don't have it because they didn't stock it because you weren't buying it. You know what I mean? And if they don't stock it because you weren't buying it, and you get new players who don't know better, and they don't know that ARG is cheaper, and they go, oh, you know what, I want to get into this game, so let's see what they got. Oh, they don't have anything. So, I'm going to buy locally. I'm going to try to buy locally. I'm going to be getting some money, so I should be able to afford it a bit. At least a box. At least a box. But, yeah. I'm going to be running a lot of super rares in this new deck, so I'm going to be needing a lot of stuff. But, I'm also going to be... There's 2 other decks I want to build. I want to build a new Mono Dark, and I want to build a new Mono Fire. The new Mono Dark, especially because there's this new Dark spell. I don't know what it's called, but there's this new 3-drop Shield Blast Dark spell. You mill the top 3 cards of your deck. You discard them. Then you pick one of the 3 you milled and add it to your hand. For Dark, especially for Mono Dark, This is amazingly good draw power for two reasons. One, it's letting you get a card. Sure, you're milling three and only getting one of them back, but you're getting a card. For a civilization that doesn't really have any draw power up till now, that's a really good thing to have that. And then you have, in Mono Dark, you have Scavenging Chimera. So any creature that you mill is just something for scavenging to get back. So, like, at this point, the ideal progression is like turn 1, do whatever. Turn 2, Scavenging Chimera. Turn 3, play this spell. You mill 3, pick one of them up, then you attack with Scavenging, pick another one up. You just got 2 cards for the price of 1. It's practically a logo scan. It's not quite as good as Logo Scan, otherwise it would be a water card. And if you're running water, obviously you'd rather run Logo Scan. But this is a really good card for Mono Dark because of Scavenging Chimera. You got this 2-drop guy who's 3,000 power. You drop him turn 2. Your opponent's not going to be able to do anything about him. And turn 3, you play this spell. You just, oh my goodness, such a good combo. If you can do it, if you can pull that off, such a great combo. And then even if you don't have Scavenging Chimera, there's still other spells you can play to retrieve creatures. The only downside is if you mill any spells. But typically Dark doesn't run a whole lot of spells. You run Bone Blades, you run Terra Pit, and that's kind of it, really. I mean, you might run Return from Beyond, you might run Dark Return, but the only spells that you know you are going to play is Bone Blades and Terra Pit. If you mill those, though, it's sad, but, you know. I'm not entirely sure if the spell lets you pick up other spells or if it has to be a creature. I don't have the card text in front of me, so I'm not entirely sure. I know it's a mill 3, pick up 1. I'm not sure if it has to be a creature or if it can be a spell. But, you know, Scavenging Chimera, any creatures that you mill this way, they might as well be in your hand, especially if you played Scavenging Chimera the previous turn. It's just a really good combo, and it's making me excited for Mono Dark, and I'm going to look for other synergies like that because it's really good. And speaking of good synergies for Monociv decks, there's this new light spell. I think it's called Spark Cage or something like that. But it's basically a Sunshock that draws. It's a 3-mana shield blast. Tap 1 creature, draw a card. Now, Sunshock's only an okay spell. Like, if you're playing Mono Light, it's like one of your few early game answers. You tap down something and then you hopefully swing over it. If you don't bounce, if you want to at least swing over it. You want to at least bounce, but you prefer to swing over it. But yeah, Sunshock. But then this new spell, Spark Cage, 3/4, tap down, Shield Blast, draw a card. And that's good too, because Light's draw engine is even more miserable than Dark's, because Dark had Blackfeather. And while Blackfeather's a very late game thing, once Blackfeather gets moving, he's an amazing card. I've drawn like 6, 7 cards off of Blackfeather's ability because it's a really good ability. You play Hydra Medusa with all your kill spells and you swing over things. Hydra Medusas, and I mean, Blackfeather is just really good. But it's late game. So this new Darkness spell gives you early game options, or if you just don't have, because you know Blackfeather's a combo card, whereas this new Dark spell you just draw essentially. But Light, the only thing they had before was, I think it's called Argus Vigilant Seer, 4 for 2,500. If it wins battle, draw a card. The fact that it's a turn 4 makes it extremely difficult because you're basically counting on them. Basically, you're hoping that they don't kill it because by turn 4, Bone Blades is live, Return to Soil is live, Heat Seekers was live the previous turn. Basically, you're hoping that they did Aqua Seneschal or Razor Hide or Giga Stand, and then you drop this card, and then they're dumb enough to swing in so you can swing over it without killing your guy. It's a very unreliable draw because he has to win battle to draw a card. So I don't know. I guess if they played I'm not sure if the creature has to be banished, but if they played Gloom Hollow and you play Argus and they block your Argus, you still get to. I think you still get to draw if it's only by battle. If you don't have to banish the creature, if you just win battle. Because Gloom Hollow doesn't stop battle. He just prevents creatures from being banished. The reason why Gloom Hollow is a terrible blocker against Lepidos, because even if Gloom Hollow doesn't die, odds are they're swinging in with something bigger. They win battle. He still gets to banish a shield. At that point, you'd rather just let them break the shield. But yeah, these new draw spells, especially for light and dark, I think really will help these decks do Mono Civ better. Now, as the self-proclaimed Darkness Master, I'm extremely excited for Mono Dark. And I'm about to, like, next time I see Phil, because Phil ran a Mono Dark deck last week, as he always does. He always runs Mono Dark. And he made first place this week. And I want to see what exactly it is he's running that gives his deck that oomph. Because I've done Mono Dark before, and it's cool. It's okay. But it doesn't have that oomph that his deck has. I think it might be the Chimera Tyrants. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's the Tekamura. I don't have any Tekamura. I've got one from my singles book that I want to leave there. So, maybe I'm looking for some Tekamura. But Mono Dark, I want to run it. I want to run it. I want to see what else we get for Darkness too, because this has me excited that Dark is going to become. I think this next set is going to actually help. I mean, it was interesting in Evo Fury to get creatures that's like, hey, if your mana is only this color, we're better. But now we're getting spells that seem to synergize with that. What was the? Ooh, yeah, that was cool. So yeah, Prism Blade Enforcer, turn 2. He becomes a 3,000 power blocker that can attack. Not the best thing ever, but he's an initiate, so he can evolve, so that's cool. And then turn 3, or does it become? It becomes 3,500 actually, which is even better. But then turn 3, you play Spark Cage, and you tap down something, you kill it, you draw a card. It's cool. Fire also is also getting. It's not getting a draw card, as far as I understand, but it's going to be doing Mono Fire Rush better because you got Bronca and Burn Claw. And Burn Claw is another Beat Stick evolution. He's slightly bigger than Laser Arm Draken. Laser Arm swings for 6, but after he's tapped, he's 4. Burn Claw is just a solid 5. And Burn Claw, when he's summoned, you get to search your deck for a Bronca and play it. That's awesome. So we got another 2-drop Draken and Bronca. And then Burn Claw, who's a 3-drop Draken evolution. So you got 2 3-drop Draken evolutions now. You got Laser Arm and you got Burn Claw. So, and then you got Bronca for more bait. You still got Cliff Cutter. You still got Weaponsmith. You run Blastforge Slaver, of course. You run War Chief and Mono Fire. And the trick to rush, assuming that you're not unlucky enough to hit a Barrage or a Tendril Grasp, or if you're lucky enough that you're playing against a deck that doesn't run Barrage or Tendril Grasp, like Blurple, um, this guy helps you populate your field, and that's really good because you want that big field. Plus, it's deck thinning. It's deck thinning, so you can like, oh, you need Flame or you need War Chief. Well, you play that Burn Claw, and now one of those Broncos is out in the field, and you don't have to worry about drawing that instead. It's kind of a weird combo because it's an evolution that pulls out a very specific card. Some people have made a comment that it's kind of Yu-Gi-Oh-ish, and I agree. Um, I haven't played much of Magic. I'm not sure if Magic does anything like that. But I do know from my experience in Yu-Gi-Oh! That there's certain cards that pull out very specific other certain cards for very specific combos. So it's kind of Yu-Gi-Oh-ish. But in a way, I find that charming because, from what I understand, Bronca and Burn Claw are a duo. They're like the dynamic duo. Bronca's the disgruntled sidekick and Burn Claw's the hero. So, though they're mercenaries. And in the TV show, they're kind of bad guys. So I guess they're not the hero. That's going to be really awesome, though. So it'd be, I guess for the fire deck, it'd be Jet Thrust Darter, not Darter, Jet Thrust Bodyguard, Jet Flame Bodyguard. I can't get my card names right here. Bodyguard, Cliff Cutter, Bronca, Weaponsmith, Laser Arm, Burn Claw, Slaver, War Chief. Let's see, I'd probably play Comet Missile. Of course, I play Comet Missile. It's Mono Fire Rush. Maybe Heat Seekers and Flame, and that's 33. So I'd still have to. Let's see what other fire cards we get. You know what? Lava Leaper. Lava Leaper's good. because your opponent can't swing. They can still block him, but they can't swing over him with anything that's 3,000 power or less, which is very useful. I would rather make it just pure Drakens, but you know, that's how it goes sometimes. At this point, I'm in the darkness section, so I'm about halfway through organizing this set. Now, I'm not going to be putting these cards in the white boxes in this video because this did take a lot longer than I thought it would. I still got Fire and Nature left to do after this. I got a whole lot of Gigastands. I might make Gigastand my collection card because I just really like that card, and I do have a lot of them. Only thing is that, you know, usually it's a rare. Like for Carl, Earth Power, it's 4 set, and for Carl Reddish, Thunder Sultan, it's Splinterclaw Wasp. I think for CBH it should be King Nautilus. He pulls that card a lot, or at least so he tells me. Just for me, I want it to be a dark card because I love darkness. Darkness is my favorite civilization. Always has been, always will be. But yeah, a lot of really fun cards. I found out that Bottle of Wishes is not optional, and that makes it really bad for me. At first, I was gonna be like, "Oh, I'll play 1 or 2. It sounds like it'd be a pretty good card." No, not really. Because say you Bottle of Wishes and you reveal Terror Pit. Well, they don't have anything on board, or they don't have anything really big on board. Like, say, but the only thing they got on board is a Cyber Trader. Well, they forced you to play that Terror Pit now. That Terror Pit has to be played. And all of a sudden, that's lousy. Or say they hit Rusalka. Well, they got no board. You know, I mean, you play it out of hand and you hit Rusalka. Well, they got no board, so you just wasted that Rusalka. It's like if you got nothing to bounce yourself, it's like, oh shoot. Actually, you know what's funny? Rusalka. Actually, I don't know. Can Rusalka bounce itself? I don't have the card in front of me right now. Let me. Is there any Rusalkas in my? Doesn't look like it. No, I don't have one in front of me, so I can't check and find out. Something to consider. Um, you know, leave a comment telling me if Rusalka can bounce itself. But yeah, Bottle of Wishes, the fact that it's not optional is a really bad thing. So I'm probably not going to be playing Bottle of Wishes, which is a shame because it's an interesting mechanic. I guess the idea is that you're supposed to play it with a whole bunch of dragons, but then it it's kind of then you end up with a handful of dragons and bad hands, and then you're just gambling. It's like playing bingo, really. It's like, or the lottery. It's like, hey, you just roll the dice, aka shuffle the deck, and hope that the right number, aka dragon, shows up. So I'm not going to run Bottle of Wishes. I am going to run Issel, and I am going to run. I might run the Evolution, just because he's unblockable. It reminds me of Crystal Lancer. Crystal Lancer was such a good evolution back in Duel Masters because he was this big beat stick of a creature who was unblockable and double breaker, and people drop him. In a way, that's kind of what we got out of Neuron, except Neuron's smaller and he's easier to swing over, and he's easier to kill because he's smaller. It's kind of interesting how in Kaijudo, being smaller is a double-edged sword because on the one hand, it's a lot easier to get out. On the other hand, it's a lot easier to kill. Which is, I guess, that's part of the contributing factor to Rush. Why Rush isn't such a big thing, because there were certain Rush decks that were just really powerful in Duel Masters, and if you got unlucky against them, because you didn't have Bone Blades in Duel Masters, you had Burst Shot, which is what Barrage is now, but it was worse back then because it hit your own creatures too. We played a lot more blockers back then, though. We played so many more blockers. But then we also had Shield Blast creatures, so I don't know. A lot of weird things, a lot of changes. A lot of good changes, in my opinion, though. I really like the introduction of the level mechanic and its relevance to certain spells. And I find it interesting that fire is the only civilization that still reacts based on power level. Nature removal and dark removal are level based. Light doesn't have removal, neither does. Well, water has level based removal, but it's all bounce. And darkness also has level based recovery that allows it to instantly come into play if it's level 4 or less. We got that new super rare dragon where he's essentially a double return from the beyond. So I can see value in that. And then we got Return from Beyond itself, the spell, where you pick one level 4 creature and return it to the field. And that's great in Blurple because they're running a full set of Rusalka and they're running a full set of Screeching. Both cards are really good. Screeching is essential for dealing with Rush. Just a lot of really good cards. So I'm slowly getting through the fire section here. I wouldn't. No. I wonder though, because that's right. Every new set has a theme deck. I haven't heard any talk on there being a new theme deck for 60 SI, but it makes sense that there would be. Probably only one. Evo only had one. Dojo only had one. Rise had two, but Rise was a really big set, so. But I think there's going to be a theme deck, and naturally, every theme deck has an exclusive super rare. So I'm probably, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna see. I'm gonna look for that, see what it is, try to pick that up. Let's see. Fire stuff. Organizing. So let's see, what else is there to talk about? 60 SI. A lot of really good cards in it. I really want to build Mono Dark. If you want to leave any comments pointing out certain other dark spells or creatures that are coming out in the new set that would be good for Mono Dark, just let me know. I don't have the list in front of me. I'm not even sure where I would find the list. I think Nick found it at one point, but he didn't tell me where he found it. And he was just kind of telling me certain cards. That Darkness spell looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't honestly know much else about the Dark Civ coming out of this set. We got Umbra. I don't know how I feel about Umbra. On the one hand, it's a 2-drop Firebird, which is really nice. But it makes your dragons Slayer. And I don't know. I just don't see that really being an issue. Unless you're playing a whole bunch of weak dragons, like Herald, Twin Cannon Maelstrom, Hyperspeed. I suppose you could do that. Some weird fire, dark. Nathan's been hoping for 4-drop dragons. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, an actual level 4 dragon. I don't think it's going to happen. We had some in Duel Masters, but it seems very clear to me that Kaijudo is trying to make dragons the big thing. And because of that, I don't think you're going to see any dragons less than 5 mana. And even the 5 mana ones are more set up for the big guys than anything else. Because you got Herald, which when he wins battle, you drop a dragon from your hand. And then you've got Hyperspeed, who's like all your dragons as long as Hyperspeed is in play. If you got 2 or more dragons, all your dragons are fast attack. So they're more setup cards. And then Twin Cannon Maelstrom, all your guys get plus 2,000 power. It's a decent ability. But yeah, and then everything 6 or above, it's a beat stick. It's just this really big guy who swings, does a lot of damage. Sometimes has a really awesome effect. That reminds me, the new, I think it's called Rage Fire Tatsurian, the new fire super rare. I might run that in Mono Fire. Just because you're running Mono Fire, you're probably going to run out of a hand. And he works best when you have no hand. Because he turns into this really big thing that can't be targeted by effects. And that's really difficult. So just another really big beat stick. So yeah, I'll try out a set of that in Mono Fire Rush. So decks I'm looking at right now: Mono Fire, Mono Dark, and Fire, Water, Light, Dragon, Techno, Control, Business. I don't know what that's called. It's more of a combo deck than anything. That Fire, Water, Nature, Fire, Water, Light. Excuse me. My voice is going out. A lot of talking, a lot of things to talk about. So I think the next video is going to be about what I'm planning on doing channel-wise over the next couple of weeks. Because, like I said in the previous video, I got work and I got all kinds of things going on. But I'm going to try to get back into making videos because, especially with 6DSi coming out, there's a lot. I mean, now, next video, the things I'll be talking about are not necessarily plans. They're not things I'm going to do, but they are things I'd like to do, and hopefully I'll get to do some of these things because there's a lot of cool stuff, and we're getting a lot more cool people at our locals. I did mention last video we got 4 new players at Portsmouth, some of which have already invested a fair amount into the game, so I anticipate seeing them more often. Carl and them, Carl, Christian, CVH, Gorby, they were all over here last week, and they got to meet a lot of these new players. They were talking about being here Saturday, so I'm excited to see them come back up. They're talking about helping out our new players. I'm excited about that too. Our new players could use the help. You know, you show the new people, the new players, that we're a solid community. We come together, we help each other out, and because I've seen communities that are the opposite. They're just like mean spirited and not very helpful, and they shark you for all your good cards, and they leave you busted and broken and without a soul. Just oh. So I think this video is about over. I just got 6 more nature cards to get in the stack. So I'm gonna start signing out now. So I hope you've enjoyed these videos. Oh, I got a number of cards left to sort. Got 7, 8. I really do hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it's the actual video itself isn't terribly interesting. But, like I said last time, 2 men in a boat fishing. Anyway, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed. I still got one more after this. So leave a like, comment, subscribe. See you later, YouTube.